Okay, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
It's time!
Welcome back to another Tuesday night episode of Tech Q&A with yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph, where, as always, we are engineered to win. Tonight is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. It feels like we just started April, like last week, and we are already like in our last week of April. This 2024 year is zooming by, I must say. It is going by so quick, but here we are. We are winning. We are putting in that work every single day. So there is nothing, absolutely nothing that can stop us or slow down our dedication and our drive. So welcome to Tech Q&A night. I have the link in the chat, posted to the top of the chat, pinned to the top, as well as in the description. If you want to call in and have a conversation, ask me a question, you are more than welcome to do so. You don't have to be on camera. If you'd want to, I'm more than happy to pull you up, but you don't have to be. So if you want to call in, ask a question, whatever the case may be, you are more than welcome to. And if you have any questions you want to ask in the chat, by all means, drop it in. I will make sure I address it. But let's get into our agenda for today. Then we're going to talk about a small topic that I have in the title. I have the title family, right? Just one word, family. What about family? So I'm going to touch on that very, very briefly. Might go into a candid conversation a little bit longer about it, maybe this coming week or so. But, family. Can't live with them. Can't live without them, maybe. We'll see. Anyways. I digress. All right. So let's get into our agenda, and then we will jump right into the topic and then the show, get our questions. And, and I expect Mitch to show up very, very soon. I cannot do, it's hard to have a successful show. I mean, I can do it, but it's hard to do it without our chat co-host. So when Mitch comes, we are going to celebrate him, give him his flowers, because we really, really do appreciate Mitch. Oh, look at that. Speaking of the saint, see, not the devil. Speaking of the saint, welcome to the show, Mitch. Let's give Mitch his flowers right now. And let's see what our good friend Mitch has to say. He says, yo, okay with the 4 eyes. Maybe you did shoot from 35 feet, but without the glasses, you were probably seeing 30 baskets, hallucinating. What? Hey, I made it in all 30 baskets. That's what I'm talking about. What's going on, Mitch? What's going on? And Mitch also says, you remind me of this guy I work with. I just want to put him in a headlock. lock. Headlock. What's a headlock lock? Like, is it just a headlock or is it a headlock lock? Anyways, I digress. Shout out to Mitch as always. So happy to have you here in the building. All right, let's get into our agenda and then we'll have some more fun with the chat. All right. So, first and foremost, guess what, folks? Guess what? We are at 997 subscribers. We are at the brink of crossing over to the 4-digit club, to the 1,000-year club. Shout out to the 1,000 years. We put in that work every single day. Nothing given. Everything has been earned. All right. So with first and foremost, I want to say thank you, a big thank you to everyone, to the newest subscribers, to the people who've been subscribed for a very, very long time. I appreciate you supporting in me and finding value in all the amazing, I'm gonna praise myself, all the amazing content that I drop on a daily basis. So I appreciate you all for your support.
I appreciate you.
And we are going to keep winning and running the bag up. All right. So shout out to all of the subscribers, the newest ones, the ones that's been with me for a very, very long time. You guys are awesome. And of course, shout out to the tech barbarians, my tech barbarians who put in that work every single day. And I'm going to highlight, I've been highlighting this tech barbarian for a while now, like about a month in, and the work that they're doing, I'll talk about it a little bit more as we get into the show. But I just want to say a big shout out and salute to the tech barbarians, my tech barbarian who had their job interview today. Salute to you. Great job. Let's get it. Let's get it. What is going on? Okay. Anyhow, let's go out there and get it, right? So let's jump into our live show schedule real quick. So we have our Sunday afternoon shows where we do our software explorations. We be terraforming, right? Infrastructure as code, having lots and lots of fit in, cloud engineering, DevOps, infrastructure as code. Join us on Sundays where we are working our way through building out our infrastructure for our for the app that my tech barbarians are building, right? The Poopy Pants Quotes app based on David Goggins' quotes, right? And then we have our Tuesday nights Q&A night. So tonight we're going to go through your questions in the chat. If you want to call in, the link is pinned to the top of the chat as well as in the description. You can definitely call in, and I have questions that I'll get answered for you as well. So that is our Tuesday nights. Thursday nights, more software explorations. We focus on QA on Thursday nights. We are this coming Thursday, we're going to be doing more API automation, but instead of doing it with Python this time, we're going to be doing it with Java, rest assured, and how to set that up, how to get started, all that good stuff. All right. So you definitely want to tune in if you are in QA and you are interested in automation and in APIs, right? Also, I'll get to that when we get there, but definitely, if you are in QA, you definitely want to tune in for that API automation sessions that we do, see how I get started. It's not a course or anything like that. It's just getting you started so you can have an idea of what to do, what to look for, things like that. Different strategies that I've employed throughout the years. You are more than welcome to show up. And then we have our morning shows, Mondays and Wednesdays. So these past few Mondays, I've been getting started around 7:45, 8, because I've been hanging out with Tech Niche Tips, Joseph and Trey in the Talk That Tech morning show. Always have fun over there. So, and I'm like, I could push it back a little bit so we can hang out with them, get some insight, share some insight. And then we start our after party on Monday mornings. Who has an after party to start the week, right? Like, who does that? We party, and I'll touch on that a little bit more. And then we have on Wednesday, we start around 7:15, 7:20, where we are doing some more. We review the news and we get into our mobile development with Flutter. Tomorrow morning, we're going to finish up our reset fields button on the time cost calculator. So we are very close to pushing this to production. So thank you so much for joining the journey. And for being part of the journey. And, looking forward to see you there. It's early in the morning, but hey, the early bird gets the worm. All right. So I want to see you there. And so that's our morning show. But wait, there's more. So on Monday mornings, we review the numbers to look out for this week. And I read them and I mention them and stuff like that, but they come out during the week and then we never do anything with it. So what I said on this past Monday was, well, I wonder if there's a way we can incorporate looking into these numbers during the week and stuff like that. But it's like sometimes the last number comes out on Fridays and we're not even doing a morning show on Fridays. And by the time it would come out, the show might be over. So this is what I decided to do. And it's on my calendar, right? I haven't scheduled it yet on any platforms, but I'm thinking about, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it this coming Saturday. I'm going to pilot it, see how it goes. I'm planning to go live Saturday morning, maybe early morning, mid-morning, where I'm going to review the numbers for the week to see how we're doing, because we could spend so much time talking about absolute trash, nonsense, but what about the numbers? What about the stuff that really matters to us? Or the things that should matter to us, but we like to focus on nonsense, right? Infinite scrolling, whatever, So I'm planning this Saturday morning to pilot reviewing the numbers for the week. The ones that they mentioned to us on Mondays, that they always mention to us on Mondays, but then we never go back and look at them. I'm gonna see if we can actually look at them this coming Saturday morning. And if it goes well, maybe we'll do, and it's probably gonna be for like 30 minutes to 45 minutes, an hour, maybe something like that. We'll review the numbers and then we'll wrap it up. We're no coding or anything like that. We just want to review the numbers that they've been telling us about every single week. What do the numbers say? Because it's one thing where they can tell you how to feel, but it's one thing when you can actually read what it is and say, okay, this is what that means. And we go from there. All right. So that is my plan. We're going to pilot it out, see how it goes. I'm already booked as it is, but if I can squeeze in another 30 minutes just to provide more value, then that's what we're going to do. All right. So that's our live show schedule with a special pilot live show coming Saturday morning so we can try things out. And Saturdays are my serious work day for content creation, but maybe we'll just squeeze one more thing in there. It's going to be a busy weekend this week as well. All right. So let's jump into our pre-recorded content. So Mondays, we have candid conversations. Yesterday, I released a video talking about why I believe that your attitude is your altitude. If you have a very poor attitude, poor work ethics, poor integrity, then you're going to be low. You're not going to be going anywhere. But if you have great attitude, that cheerful spirit, that can-do mindset, then you're going to rise, even if your skills are not there yet. But people will see that. They'll see that. So they'll see something in you. And then they're going to want to work with you and help you build and help you grow. So that's what we were talking about yesterday. Check out that video if you haven't. Really, really good video. Tomorrow, software explorations. On Wednesday, we have software explorations, concept and overviews. We're going to be talking about, I just scheduled it to premiere as well. We're going to be talking about controllers and what are controllers when building APIs, right? In my job, I see controllers all the time. And I'm like, how do these things work? And I said, you know what? Let's figure it out together. So tomorrow we're going to talk about controllers, and coming up, like in the project with the Tech Barbarians, with some of the APIs that we're going to have to build, I'm going to have to actually, put together controllers. So there's no time like the present. And then Fridays we have the Bug Bite, where we review different software related industry defects or bugs or cybersecurity type stuff. I don't remember what the one tomorrow is about or this Friday about, but I'll mention it on Thursday, what it's going to be about, but you definitely want to tune in. And then throughout the week, we have shorts as well as clips from our Q&A show. So this show in a few months, it's going to be clipped up and it's going to be released during the week. All right. So something here for everyone. Hopefully I can add a lot of value into your life. All right. So that is our show schedules. So with that being said, if you haven't done so already, with all that amazing information that I'm providing to you, all I ask you to do is like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. All right? Hit the and if you're feeling even more giving, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that I go live or drop new content, because I love to interact with you. All right? So let's go back real quick and see what do we have over here. And Mitch said, didn't mean the lock part, you know. And Mitch says, only need 3 early. Congrats. Appreciate it, Mitch. Appreciate it. So let's get into it. So I want to talk about real quick. So I named the or part of the title family, right? And I know I spoke about this sometime last year when we were having this quote unquote family meeting, right? Extended family. And they were like, well, what does family mean to you? And I said, you know what? I need some. Feeling kind of dry here. Okay. Okay. So I said, well, to me, family is the people who have the same common interests and goals with you, who are going in the same direction as you. I don't believe that, someone can be related to you, they can be your family, but if you have totally different interests, then we're not family, we're just family, right? So, and I stood on that, right? And some other people who were part of the meeting, they were, oh, this is what it is. And then the person who was conducting the meeting was like, well, this is what family is. And I'm like, maybe to you. So fast forward to today. And I was thinking about it yesterday, and how things turn out and how things play out. And of course, Tech Coach Ralph is right again. And why am I right? So, what I have noticed throughout throughout my long life, 4 decades here on this world, on this earth, a glimpse in time, but the people who want to get the most out of you and use you the most, they're always going to be the ones who support you the least. It's just how the cookie crumbles, right? As my friend Vlad would say, it's just how the cookie crumbles. And I was gonna wear my bandit hat tonight, right? I was gonna wear this hat. I was gonna wear this bandit hat tonight because sometimes I am the bandit, right? But I had to stick. I was like, you know what? It's the lone wolf tonight. It's the lone wolf, because all my life, I never really wanted to depend on anybody, ask anybody for anything. If we come together, we're going to work together. I'm going to provide value to you. But there are some people, regardless how they come around you, right? Whether it's through a friend of a friend, people marrying in, whatever the case may be, that they're looking to take from you. And they want you to give everything. And they don't even know the definition of support, because they want you to come along with all of their ideas and their projects and stuff like that. And they won't even ask you how the things that you're working on, how that's going. And guess what? Guess how I feel about that? I don't care. I honestly don't care. And with that being said, and Mitch is going to appreciate this, right? Being the New York, New Jerseyan that he is, right? New Jerseyan, is that a word? Is that how they call you guys, New Jerseyan? So, I just want to when I was young, one of my favorite artists was Nas, right? And I just kept on thinking yesterday of the song, of the what do you call them, a track called "Watch Them." We'll go with the word ninjas, right? And the chorus is Nas and Foxy Brown. If anybody remembers Foxy Brown, right? The chorus goes, "Watch them ninjas that be close to you and make sure they do what they're supposed to do. Because they'll be thinking about smoking you. Never personal. Nowadays, it's the way." Right? Watch them ninjas. That's a clean version, right? And it just made me remember, the people who are the closest to you can be your biggest supporters or your biggest takers. So I know a lot of people they see family one way or another, family. And I will always hold on to the idea and the thought that my family will always be the people who have common interests, common goals, common direction. When we're aligned, because guess what? We can be family for a season, for a particular activity. And then for something else, we might not be family. I don't know. But I am always looking to add value. But if you're only looking to take value, then it's going to be what it's going to be. All right. So, anyways, that turned into like a whole canon conversation. I should have just saved that for Monday because now I'm going to have to find a topic. But I'll go way deeper into it. And the time for reckoning is coming. All right. The time for reckoning is coming. So there's some people that you are close to, and that is your family. And then there's some people who want to be your family. But it's interesting because the people that you would see as your family are the ones who they're not trying to beg you or trying to get close to you to be family. You guys just naturally have that common interest. But then there's some other people who are literally begging you to be part of your family or to be part of their family so that they can mooch off of you. It is what it is, all right? It is what it is. All right, let's get to the comments and then we're going to get to our questions and answers for the night. So, Mitch also said, being related and family are two different things. Exactly, right? 100% with you on that one. And Mitch says, delusional, I thought I do right by you, but you do right by me. But I do right by you, you take from me. Delusional. See? Yeah, I know. We know how the game goes. Dirty Jersey. And I'm a J fan, though, not Nas. But you know the song anyways, right? You still know the song, right? I know you know the song. And what's a ninja? Oh my goodness. Strangers sometimes turn into family. Yep. And guess what? On the reverse, family sometimes turns into strangers. And I had this conversation with my dad like last year too, because he was like, "Oh, I just wish that the family was like closer and stuff like that." I'm like, "I'm close enough with my family." I'm close enough with my family. Like, don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Anyways, all right, let's get to it. Because I have a meeting at 9:45 tonight. Me and and someone that I do consider family. Right, we have a meeting tonight at 9:45. We are going to figure some things out, wreak some havoc. We're gonna run it up. All right. So, with that being said, let's get to our questions for tonight. So, we are going to go with the first question of the night. And you know how we like to start it off with where's my guy, DJ Khaled, when I need him?
Another one.
So, the first question of the night reads, what is more important for getting a better QA job in the world? And you see, not even in the state, not in the country, not in the continent, not in the hemisphere, but in the world. So this question goes, computer engineering master's degree. Oh, this is going to be this type of question, all right? So computer engineering master's degree or a ISTQB advanced certification. I have industrial engineering BSc, Bachelor's of Science, and ISTQB CTFL and 2 years, 2 projects experience. Ooh. So, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to start the clock, of course, because we are not going to miss any started clocks here tonight. And to answer your question, hands down, without a shadow of a doubt, the one that is way more important for you getting a better QA job is going to be the ISTQB Advanced Certification. I kid, I joke, okay? I joke. It's humor me here, okay? Like, laugh with me. Come on, all right? So, if I had to choose, I would say you'd be better off with the computer engineering master's degree. Not 100% sure how that, like, they both don't really correlate to you getting a better job. But overall, in the tech industry, the computer engineering master's degree is going to be way, way better than an ISTQB advanced certification that just means you know how to pass a test. I couldn't care less about ISTQB certification, right? When things start having too many acronyms, you just start throwing acronyms after, like, you just use the whole alphabet at that point, right? But with a computer engineering master's degree, you're actually learning something. You're getting, more value out of it. Does it necessarily translate to QA? Not really for the most part, but wait. There's so much more things you can do with that computer engineering master's degree. Because you can pivot into cybersecurity, you can go into cloud engineering, cloud computing. You can continue to do more QA if you wanted to. Maybe become a software engineer. Just getting the concepts and so many things you can see. And like if you're in QA, understanding the concepts of computer science, computer engineering way, way better, that's going to make you a better QA. I always tell people, whether I'm coaching them or whatever, it's important for you to understand how the software that you're testing works. You don't have to be an expert in software engineering, but as a QA person, knowing how HTML works, knowing how CSS works, knowing how JavaScript works, knowing how Node works, knowing how APIs work, knowing how controllers work, that we're going to be talking about tomorrow. Knowing these things is going to help you test better and come up with better scenarios, better like ideas of what to test, edge cases, so many different things. And I think that the master's in computer engineering, computer science, whatever, I don't know, like computer science, computer engineering, whatever, it's going to get you closer there, shows that you're able to commit to something where, it takes time to go to school and, depending on how you're doing it. But to me, I would say that would be a lot better option, even if it doesn't help. Like, it definitely will help you get a better QA job, but I think it expands your world so much more. See, a lot of times we need to stop thinking in this box of, oh, to help me with this particular thing. I'm looking at the grand scheme of things. When you see me working on Flutter mobile development, building an app that's pretty much in test mode in the App Store, but I'm about to like redeploy it with a bunch of more features before we actually send it to production in the app stores. In January, I think it was January when we started this, right? I had absolutely no idea how Flutter worked, how mobile development worked, how the app stores worked. Becoming a Apple developer, becoming a Google developer or Android developer, all this, I had no idea. No idea how to write tests in Flutter, but I started. And so getting yourself educated with stuff that are tangible that you can actually show off. If I had an ISTQB certification, which I don't, right? Sorry, I apologize. Maybe I'm not a real QA person because I don't have an ISTQB CTFL times 2, double ISTQB certified, right? Maybe I'm not a real QA engineer. I don't know. But I write dope code and I cannot lie, right? And I love it. We do amazing things, and we like, and nobody that I've ever worked with has ever asked me, hey, are you ISTQB certified? No one ever asked me that. So they probably don't even know what it is either. So what I'm saying to you is that get the right education, but to get a better QA job, you're going to need to actually participate and work. And it's going to be like, to get a better QA job, it's more about what you do on the job instead of what you're doing, like what classes and stuff. It's like, what the proverbial question, what do you bring to the QA table? And it's about your ideas, your mindset, your critical thinking, your innovation, your willingness to speak up and advocate for your customers, for your stakeholders, giving that perspective, that risk perspective, that performance perspective, that usability perspective. That's what's going to lead you to get a better QA job. The overall knowledge of software and computers and tech, that's going to come with the computer engineering master's degree. A cool piece of paper that you can hang up on some wall, that's going to come with the ISTQB advanced. It'll be an advanced piece of paper. So that's how I see it. Hopefully that helps, not hurt, helps, and doesn't hurt too many feelings. Well, sorry. Let's see what. All right. Oh, I got some good. Oh my goodness, I got some good chats in here. All right, we got one of my top tech barbarians in the building. We have Bridget B in the building. I just want to come up with a question to get the sound effects. How are you doing tonight, Bridget? And I'll tell you this, right? About Bridget. Very organized, and always has a plan. And something I'm actually gonna touch on, I'm gonna use her as an example later on down the show of how to continue learning and cultivating your skills, finding opportunities to work with people to grow and to build. All right. So, but you have to stick around for that. And we have No Cap QA in the building. Welcome to the show, No Cap QA. How are you doing tonight? And yes, that is a lot of letters. I almost got lost in the letters, but you know, letters make people feel good. Have you ever seen somebody's signature in their email and they'll have like, it's like the whole alphabet, all these certifications and stuff like that. And they're like, okay, well, what do you do? Oh, I'm looking for a job. I'm like, how'd you get all these characters after your name, but you don't have a job? Like, how does that work? Like, where do they do that at? Where do they do that at? Right? Like, usually, like, you start getting the letters as you build a career. You don't get all the letters and then you look for the career. But maybe that's me. Maybe that's me. All right. I could be wrong. I digress. And Mitch says, Bridget B asks, what's a better career route, QA or business analyst? Oh, ask them. They're funny. The funny thing is that about that, Mitch, though, that question is pretty interesting because those two roles, they have a lot of overlap in it. I have like two really close friends who they were business analysts and then they became QA. And then one of them, as QA, they went, like, the company they were at asked them to be a business analyst. So then they went back to business analyst. So I think those two roles are like really, really related. So that's actually a good question. Bridget asked a great question, through proxy of Mitch, So great job. And Mitch says, I don't have a B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. Don't feel bad. Yeah, I don't have one either. I don't have one. I just have TCR, right? TCR. That's all I need. All I need is TCR. And Bridget says, thanks for all the kind words. So I don't know if you saw like any of the recent streams, but I said, when someone comes here and they are being awesome and they share something like my video from last week, always celebrate yourself. And I here will celebrate everything that I see that people are doing great. And because if no one else is going to celebrate you, I will always celebrate you. I mean, says, yeah, I know they are related. I know, get out of here, Mitch. I mean, don't leave, but I'm just saying, get off my screen. All right. Anyways, let's get to our next question of the night. And let's go back here. All right. So question is queued up.
Another one.
What tools do you use for API testing at work? What tools would you like to use at work if you had a choice? It says, I want to get into API testing for two reasons, not one, but two reasons. I have my own API that I want to create automated tests for, a very small API with 2 endpoints made in Fast API. See that? That's awesome. That's awesome. I would like to study API testing and APIs in general more in order to eventually get a job as a software tester. I know some basics of Postman and have been using it for some manual requests while developing my API. It's a very good tool when using for manual stuff. However, as always, when I tried to learn more about testing and automating things in Postman, I started to think about other alternatives, as you should. You do not want to be using Postman to automate your APIs. Although some people do it, I certainly do not recommend it. I touched it on the video last week, I believe, automating API tests with Postman through Newman. And I think in one of these coming weeks, maybe next week or maybe the week after, we're going to try it out. I've never done automation with Postman before, but hey, guess what? There's no time like the present, right? No time like the present. So we'll try it out. We'll figure it out and go from there. So this person continues to say, I like coding in general and usually prefer code solutions rather than GUI no-code solutions. I like you already, all right? One of the options I found is Python request module allows for sending HTTP requests in combination with PyTest, test runner, and assertions. And I kind of like this approach since it feels like I can do things my way rather than conform to the tools like Postman. For example, I don't like how the data-driven testing is implemented in Postman. What do you guys think on the subject? What tools do you use at work for API testing? What tools would you prefer if you were the one to decide in your company? Also, for the perspective of a fresher is, I think it's a term, it must be the term they use in India about people who are noobs, working or entry level, working on its portfolio, which is more suitable for API testers, automation project in Postman or Newman, nope, or automation project in Python with Jenkins / GitHub Actions. And that's an amazing question. All right, so let's get our timer started and we will answer this question accordingly. So I would say you are on the right track. I would not advocate anyone to do API testing, like automated API testing with Postman and Newman. Plenty of people do it and that is their prerogative, but I personally don't like it. Why don't I like it? So I think that you are on the right track to use, because if you're using Fast API, which I would believe that you're doing it through Python, especially that you mentioned Python, I would say, yeah, go with the request library, and you can use PyTest. You can use the built-in testing thing. At work, we have a custom framework, but that custom framework uses the request library. And but for our framework to execute the test, we use a behavior-driven development framework called for Python it's called Behave. In Java it's called Cucumber, and we have it in we have our feature files and gherkins and stuff like that. And it's a pretty custom framework, but for what you're doing, it's definitely possible to just use the request library. You can use Behave if you wanted to. You can use PyTest. PyTest is great as well. I've used PyTest for some tests. And if I was to choose what tool that I would use, I would use, if I'm developing in Python, I would use Python. If I was developing in Java, I would use Rest Assured, and I would use TestNG as a framework, the same way that you're using PyTest or Behave, or I could use Cucumber as well. The reason that I would go for, as you said, the avoid the no code solution is because when I am automating, I want to be able to maneuver and pivot as needed. So in the past, in some frameworks that I built, I would be using Selenium WebDriver for my UI testing, but I would be able to make API calls whenever I needed to. So I could be executing some tests in the UI, some steps in the UI, and I say, oh, I need to make this API call for this information to be staged. Also, I'm pretty sure there's a way to do this with PyTest, but I've done this with TestNG and Java, where I would use the data provider feature in TestNG, and I would have a spreadsheet of all the possible combinations for the API. So you're looking at maybe thousands of rows, and I would just put that test data in there, and then I even had it where it was pulling in the test data from a Google sheet, a Google Docs sheet. And that way the test data could be updated dynamically and stuff like that, so that I didn't have to go and update the repo or update the files in the repo when I wanted the test execute. I can just go totally externally from I was using Jenkins at the time, but from that process, go totally external and pass the test data in that way. So that's one of the reasons that I like TestNG through Java, and I'm pretty sure I haven't had the opportunity to do it in Python yet, but I'm pretty sure it's possible, especially integrating with the Google Sheets API and stuff like that. But those are the reasons that I like to go straight into the code and then and automate it that way. Let's see what else. So I still use Postman though, but I use it to figure out how the API works in my manual tests. And then from there, I take it from Postman and then I automate it, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. And for instance, at work, we run API tests all day, every day. When at previous jobs, running API tests all day, every day, and having it to go through that CI/CD pipeline, not having to set up some additional features of Newman and stuff like that, and not having the ability to use that data and something that Postman would do, that a UI solution would do. That's why I've always avoided it and just go straight to the code. And it makes you more strategic and know and learn how to code better. So your loops get better and your if statements get better. Everything, like when you go into the code, everything that you do gets better, and you understand even more about classes and interfaces and all that type of stuff, right? Very, very important. As QA engineers, as we grow, we want to get better. We want to understand the code better. So like if you end up looking at the code that the developers wrote, you can actually understand a little bit about it. When they're talking, you can talk their language. So that's why I would say like not Postman, Python request or Java rest assured or whatever. Like I'm sure C# has something. I like for the app with the Tech Barbarians, I just started writing unit tests for that, and I used the super test library, and I use Mocha and Chai, I believe. And you can like, so regardless of the languages you're doing, there's going to be something that's going to support it. But I like the idea of going into the code and writing it out. That way, it's going to make you way, way better. You could use a no-code solution, but what happens when that no-code solution gets way too expensive that the company doesn't want to support it anymore? That's why I never lean on getting pigeonholed. I never lean on getting pigeonholed into a tool that someone can adjust the price on. Open source is going to be open source. And that's why I go for these libraries and stuff like that, and I build upon those. Are there some benefits to the paid solutions? Of course there are. But for me, it's the cons of getting these solutions have always outweighed the pros of me doing it myself, you know? And so that's how I see it. Let me know what you think. You could disagree, you could agree. I don't know. But that's just my perspective on there. But go with Python, go with Java, do it yourself. Do it yourself. All right. Let's see where we're at. We got, let's see. So Mitch says, Ralph doesn't celebrate me, just throws dirt on me. Mitch, I am too short to throw dirt on you. I guess I could throw dirt. I guess I'm close enough to the dirt to throw it on you. So I take that back. I am not too short. I am just right height to throw dirt. But Mitch, at the very beginning of the show, I celebrated you saying my number one chat co-host was in the building. And Richard says, Postman plus Newman. Okay, Jerry. You know, in the video that I did with about API testing, and I was talking about Newman, I had a GIF of Newman. So that's like whenever I hear Newman, that's what I think about. That's what I think about. All right. And we have the one, the only Andrew Allen in the building. Drew says that cert is good for GovTech. They want the acronyms personal. Yay, that's true. You know, because you know, FBI, CIA, DA, ATF, whatever else they got. They're you know, they want more acronyms. You know, more acronyms. So, and you're right. Drew is right about that. If you are looking to get into like the government sector, then they will probably value those certificates, the ISTQB and stuff like that. But why? Why do they? Because they don't know what you do as like QA and stuff like that. So they're like, oh, if they have a certificate, they must know what they're doing, right? They must know what they're doing. Anyways, I digress. But we're going to get to our next question. Before we do that, if you haven't done so already, do me a big favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live and drop new content. Right? Oh, wait 1 second. Who is this person in the building? We have Corey Perry in the building. Welcome to the show, Corey. Not, I take that back. That's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. The buttons are right next to each other. I'm sorry. But Corey, welcome. I think it's my first time talking to you. How are you doing tonight? Corey says, I have a IS governance role interview this Friday for a bank. Can you please offer any advice? I have IT support and GRC analyst intern experience. Well, first and foremost, I want to say I want to congratulate you for your experience and for you having that interview. That is absolutely awesome and amazing. So some quick advice that I would say when you're going into the interview, and normally I save this for my Patreon members, but since Corey asked and he has this interview, I'm going to share it. All right? I'm going to drop this exclusive game. So what I would say is, so a couple of pointers. Highlight your accomplishments. They're going to ask you questions about, like, why do you want to work here, and things like, tell me about your experience, and stuff like that. But you always want to bring the conversation back to how awesome you are, why you would be a good fit for the job. Highlight all the stuff that you know, all the stuff that you do. So anything you did in the IT support role, in the GRC analyst intern, highlight that, saying, and you always want to share with them what value you're going to bring to the company. And you have to put it in the mindset of, like, if they did not hire you, everything they'll be missing out on. Why can they not live without Corey working for them? If they pass Corey up, if they let Corey get into the hands of their competitors, why they're going to be missing out. So that's my first advice to you, right? So highlight your greatness. The same way that I just celebrated you when you showed up, I want you to celebrate yourself and how you talk about yourself. Be confident and watch my video about just released yesterday. Your attitude is your altitude. So you have to have the right attitude going into the interview, showing that you're willing to work and you're willing to learn and you're willing to grow, all that type of stuff, and you're willing to contribute. You're not just going to be sitting there for a paycheck. No, you want to jump in, you want to learn, you want to contribute, you want to give advice, you want to give recommendations, you want to take advice, you want to take criticism. You're open to it all. So that's the first part, right? Second part, it's all about the questions that you ask. A lot of times they'll say, okay, do you have any questions for us? And people will ask, like, not good questions. They'll ask not good questions. They'll ask questions like, tell me about, like, your PTO policy, which is for HR. The PTO policy is not for the hiring manager or the team that's interviewing you, right? Save that for HR. But ask good questions. So one question that I would ask is, all right, listen up, because I can't let this information get out to everybody. But I would ask a question like this. So when I start, what are some of the problems that you're looking for me to solve immediately? So you see what I did there, right? I led the question with when I start, not if I'm hired, if you guys like me, if we go. When I start on the team, what are some of the immediate problems you'd be looking for me to solve? And that puts you directly into the, like, you put yourself in their mind of thinking, well, how can Corey help us solve the problems? Because they're hiring, they want to hire you because you're trying to fulfill a need that they have. So now they're already thinking, okay, well, Corey, when you start, we'll be looking for you to do X, Y, and Z. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So thinking about asking really good questions. One of the questions from the book, Never Split Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, former FBI hostage negotiator, was when you're in an interview, you would ask the question like to your hiring manager, what would you say it takes to be successful? And his reasoning behind that is you're pretty much putting yourself in the mentee to mentor position. And I just take that question and I just modify it a little bit because I want you to put yourself, I want them to envision you working there. Something like, so what would a typical day look like? How does your days work? Find out, do they do like agile? Ask questions about the job. Don't ask random useless questions. Ask questions about the job and put yourself in the role. Start working there before you even get offered the job. Like, that's why I want you to ask those questions that put you in the role. Hopefully that helps, Corey. Do me a favor. Do me a big favor, Corey. When everything is said and done, come back to the stream. Let me know how it went. How did the interview go? All that stuff, right? If you get the position, which I'm pretty sure you will. But let us know. I would love to hear back from you. All right, Corey? Shout out to you, Corey, and one more time for Corey. Everyone, a round of applause for Corey. Wish him the best. And I don't even want to wish him luck. Go out there and knock him dead. Do your best, and we'll be looking forward to hearing back from you, Corey, next week. Check back in, all right? So, and Bridget just added the higher ups at her job love, what does winning look like? That's a good question, right? That's another variation of the question. What does winning look? And I would say, what would winning look like for me? Like, what would you want to see out of me, right? Things like that. So, figure out the question, but awesome stuff. And we got more support in the building. Which just says, Corey, you totally got this. Yes, it's yours. It's already yours, all right? It's already yours. So, and we have my guy in the building. Darcel is here. Says, good evening. Good evening to you as well, Darcel. How are you doing on this beautiful Tuesday night? So, let's keep going. And Corey says, thanks again. You got it, Corey. We are all here looking forward to hear from you, and it's going to be a great learning experience as well. But you got it. All right, you've got it. Okay, let's get to. We're moving slower than usual tonight, but hey, I'm here for you guys. All right, I am here for you guys. Let's get to our next question. If you haven't done so already, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live. All right, so. This next question goes.
Another one.
Repository suggestions. I'm transitioning from back-end dev to QA. I never really understand why people transition from dev to QA, but anyhow, just created a VCS repository. VCS stands for Version Control System, if in case you didn't know. What can I do for the first pet project if I intended to be a QA automation or maybe in SDET? Not much things coming to mind. I want to cover as much as possible for junior / associates level and to be relevant in 2024. So, not entirely sure. Okay, got it. So this is not about API. This is about version control. I'm not really sure what the pet project has to do with version control in particular, because you can be using GitHub, you can be using Bitbucket, GitLab, whatever the case may be. But the repository is just to store your content. See, they almost got on me. But I caught the clock. So And here's the thing, right? It's always a little bit tougher for QAs to do projects on their own because you end up writing test cases and test plans and stuff like that for things that exist. And one of my tech barbarians, they might have just finished up a boot camp, but in the boot camp, when they're doing, I don't know, like a project, it's not even an internship, but it's doing a project, and it's not a bunch of people in the class, like they join a Zoom call and they're just frivolously writing useless test cases. And to me, that's not the best use of your time. And you know how I feel about time. So the it's always harder for QAs to do like projects with regards to the type of project. Because when you think about it, QAs are normally depending on someone to create an application for them to test. And this is the part where this is a question where I was going to bring up my amazing tech barbarian, Bridget. So, not going to give too much details, but Bridget partnered up with a friend who is working, like learning and working on, getting better at React and stuff like that. And Bridget, being the amazing QA engineer that she is, says, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to join on to this project so I can continue to get better in QA and different and things like that." And those are like the type of opportunities that you have to look for so that you can actually put your skills to use. But while you can like build your portfolio, doing test cases for Amazon or Walmart or something like that, or for flights, they're useful, but they already exist. And just seeing that you can write a test case based on a website that exists, whether it's a real site or a fake site, it's cool. But I'm not able to see your QA mind. I can just see that you can write test cases on stuff that exists. But as for instance with Bridget building as her friend is building out the application, she gets to go through the whole entire software development lifecycle, writing test cases, automating those test cases, executing them, probably going to put them in GitHub, maybe an opportunity to set up GitHub Actions, whatever the case may be. So many things that is possible. And I'll give you another example. My tech barbarian, I'm telling you, I'm probably driving them crazy because, so the same one who's just wrapping up this boot camp, I'm probably driving them crazy, but crazy good. Because guess what? In a month time of working with me, they have exposure to Node, MongoDB, Docker, building Docker images, starting up a Docker compose file, troubleshooting their issues, finding out about environment variables, all within a month. They successfully tested. Oh, don't forget, knowing how to use the software that manages the stories, participating in the Scrum nights. Real experience for an app that is online that anybody can access. It's probably rotating in the chat right now. Anybody can access it. There's not much to see there, but isn't it? It's an app. And guess what? The best part about it, when they have their interview and they say, okay, so tell me about yourself. Oh, in the past 6 months, I've been working on building an application that provides quotes to people when they are feeling down and they want to quit. They're tired. Oh, really? What is this app? Oh, it's you can pull it up. What's the website? Oh, it's poopypants.app. Poopypants app. And then we all have a good laugh about it. And that's why I chose the name. Some people aren't crazy about it, but I find it funny. And it's based on, that motivation, that drive. And then you can start, and so what role did you contribute to this? Oh, well, I am the lead QA engineer on this project, and I did automation in this part. I wrote, these are the test cases that I wrote. I participate in the Scrum nights, and I did the sprint review. I demoed things, getting familiar with Docker, understanding how the Docker containers work, learning how to like different Docker compose commands. So many things that you can talk about. So you need to find a way to put yourself on a real project. You can do the like the little fake projects where you're like just writing some random test cases. I have a video, right, where I'm talking about how you can build a QA portfolio. It'll give you some good insight and knowledge and help, but there's absolutely nothing like being part of a project. And one of the problems that I have with people in tech, they have all these ideas, all this drive, all this ambition, but number one, they don't do anything with it. Number two, they don't want to work together. So the way that you see Bridget and a friend join forces, right? Like Captain Planet. And now the friend gets to get better at React. Bridget gets to get better at QA and everything about QA. But Bridget also gets to make her friend better in her development because like she's going to be finding bugs and giving ideas and suggestions and stuff like that so she can make her application even better. While the friend is going to force Bridget to become better in QA because going to be pushing the limit on, hey, I wonder if we could do this. I wonder if we could do that. And then Bridget's going to have to find a way to test it, to automate it, to think about the different scenarios. Iron sharpening iron. I hope you understand what I mean by that. And if you can find like one more tech barbarian of mine, I was able to land them in a startup, and call it whatever you want, internship, whatever, but they are building experience. And the amount of work and value that they're bringing to the startup, it's absolutely amazing. But guess what? I don't even care about that. I care about the experience that they're gaining because learning how to use, like, they've never used AWS Device Farm before. And I give them a quick walkthrough and now they're able to connect. They're able to install applications on it, things like that. And those are you have to seek out those opportunities. You have to volunteer so that you can grow, you can elevate, you can get better. All right. So that would be my suggestion on how you can start to get better. And of course, build frameworks, but you need to put yourself, your feet in the mud and walk through it and figure out. You just have to figure it out. All right. You have to figure it out, but you can't just sit around and wait and hopefully somebody's going to give you a chance. Nope. You have to go out there and get it. You have to go out there and earn it. All right, let's see. What do we got in the chat? We have, let's see. Okay, we have Gregory Morris said, Gregory, what are you danging to more? Every time you come in, Gregory, you're like, dang. And Gregory says, this guy keeping it real. This is true. Sad. I am not going to lie to you. Right? I am not going to lie to you. Because guess what? Y'all don't pay me enough to lie to you. So it is what it is. Y'all don't pay me enough to lie to you. And Bridget says, it's a win-win. Exactly. And when Bridget told me, I'm like, oh, this is such an amazing opportunity because you get like, it's a friend. So, working with friends, you keep each other accountable and say, hey, are we meeting tonight? Let's do it. Like, oh no, come on. No excuses. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. All right. And Darcel said, final interview on Thursday and had turned down Darcel, you elevating that much that you're like, look at me. I'm the captain now. You're like, I'm turning you down. You're not turning me down. I'm turning you down. Hey. All right. That's what I'm talking about. Don't you love to be in the position where you can turn them down? The world is your oyster, all right? So, and Darcy says final interview on Thursday. So, the pre-party. So, like I said, we have the after parties on Mondays after the Technique Tip Show. We're gonna have the pre-party right now for Darcel's final interview on Thursday. Alrighty then. So, and Mitch says, of course, good luck. And sometimes it's like that. You gotta do some turning down. Like, nope, Nope, not ooh. You're not it. All right, you're not it. All right. And Mitch says, Captain Planet, now you talking. I'm fire though. Yeah. And you know what? About Captain, I digress, but about Captain Planet, they used to always hurt my feelings because that was my favorite one, but then they would randomly play, like air it sometimes. Like they never had a consistent schedule. So like every Saturday morning, wake up early to watch Captain Planet, and then it would be like some nonsense that they put on, and I was highly, highly disappointed. Sorry for the rant. And Mitch says, I'll lie for you before I lie to you. Hey, you got it. I mean, you know, if they want me to lie to them, you know, just if you want me to lie to you, just drop me a super chat. All right. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right. I'm kidding. Anyways, let's keep going with the show. We've got our next question. Our next question goes
Another one.
How do you fit regression testing into Kanban methodology? My team recently changed to Kanban methodology, and I'm not sure about when regression should be performed since I've worked all the time under Scrum. Any ideas? Well, it's a good question. Let's go back to our timer and say, let's get the show started. And here's when, right? Listen closely, all right? This is when you're supposed to do regression testing in Kanban, all right? Whenever you want to make sure your application still works, that's when you do regression testing in Kanban. So that means all the time. Whenever there's a change, you're going to do regression testing. And that's why, but here's the question. What do you define as regression testing? Is it just like you just executing a bunch of test cases over and over and over manually? Huh? Is that what you mean? That's not what I mean. Regression testing is you have a series of automated tests that you can run whenever you want at the drop of a dime, and that's going to give you immediate feedback to let you know, is your application still working, or if you or your developers broke something. Like that is the answer right there. There's not much to it. You run regression whenever you want to make sure that your application still works. So I run regression every time there's a change made. And I'll run it over and over and over again. I was working like last week, a big project, which is still not done because I'm going to like have to create a whole epic and stories about how we're going to expand this automation. But it was automation that we must have ran it like 50 times across different regions around the world because we had to make sure things work. So you run regression tests in Kanban, in Scrum, wherever the case may be, whenever you want to make sure that your application still works, which should be all the time. So in Kanban, things are moving across the board, right? So, and it depends on how you have it, because you can have like, in Kanban, you can have it like moving from local dev and testing to like a staging environment or whatever, right? Whatever, however you do it. But let's say the implementation is done in your local environment. You pull in the branch, whatever, and you run your regression test, and things work. Cool. Now it gets deployed to like a development environment or a staging environment. You run the regression there, and those pass. Cool. You keep going. Every time new changes are made, you run regression. I don't know how else to explain it, but whenever changes are made, you run regression. Why do you run so much regression? Because we want to make sure that our application still works. The most I'll tell you, this is the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen in software development. You make a change, this application was working, and then you say, okay, you tested the change, it works, great, awesome. You deploy. You go to the homepage. The homepage loads, and we're in production here. We are in production, all right? We're doing it live. You go to the homepage. It works. You click on login, and you get a blank screen. And you're like, what in the world just happened here? So you use your Chrome developer tools, and you see that you have some type of React JavaScript type error. And now your product owner is like, how did we not catch this? Well, we're doing Kanban, and I wasn't really sure when to run regression testing. Well, why didn't you ask Tech Coach Ralph? Because when I was watching his stream, he said that you should run regression testing whenever we want the application to work. So, did you not want the application to work? Why didn't we run regression testing after we made this change before we deployed? And I'll tell you this, you run it way earlier than before you deploy, because let's say the developers make the change, right? Because some teams, they work in a way where they get all the stories merged into a branch and they get to develop, and then they merge it to another location. So that means before everything, you want to test often, early and often, early and often, early and often, often and early, often and early, often and early. All right? Because the further you let the broken software, the defect, the bug, whatever you want to call it, get along the way, the more it costs, because it takes longer for the developers to fix it, takes more rounds of QA. If it gets to production, you can be losing money, hurting the company, hurting the bottom line, and you do not want to be the person who caused the bottom line to be injured. All right? So, to wrap it up one more time, how do you fit regression testing into Kanban methodology? You fit it in by running regression tests, automated regression tests, whenever you want to be sure that your application still works. All right. So let's go to the chat real quick. Let's go to the chat really quick. Let's see what we got going on in the building. So we have good guy in the building tonight. Where is my good guy sound effect?
Good guy.
Yeah. So good guy says, hey coach, I have a question as well. Well, good guy, I am not stopping you from asking it. So go ahead and ask your question. And it says, what is a possible way to split up long end-to-end tests when business is required to have a complete process automated, which includes web, API, database, and 2 desktop Java clients in a single test? Well, talk about hitting us with the hard questions, all right? But, don't threaten me with a good time. So let's get our timer started for this question. So, splitting up long end-to-end tests. Well, I would say first, let's break it up. Let's break it up a little bit. The end-to-end tests include web. So this is one test that includes web, API, database. I would say that just because this one test includes all of this stuff, right? It doesn't mean you need to validate all this stuff in this one end-to-end test. Because the idea and the concept of end-to-end and integration tests, you can split all these tests up into different pieces. So API tests, you can fervently test your API to make sure that everything is working as it should work, all your different variations, your edge cases, your negative cases, your positive cases, all that, right? You can have that tested. So you know without a shadow of a doubt that your API works as expected. So we can wipe any type of validation from that long end-to-end test for the API, because the API is working as expected based on your tons and tons of API tests. Database tests. What exactly are you testing with the database? So, and why does it okay, here's the idea behind end-to-end tests. And this is what you guys have to understand for end-to-end tests. End-to-end test is exactly what it says it is. It is, can I get from the beginning to the end in the same manner or fashion that a customer would. A customer is not going to be doing API tests when they're going through end-to-end tests. They're not going to be doing database tests. Are they going to be using a desktop Java client, which I don't even know what that would be in this application that you're talking about. But if they are, okay, cool. If the client is using the desktop Java client, then I guess you have to automate that. They are going to be using the web. So the test starts where the client starts, where the user starts, the customer starts, and it ends where the customer and the user ends. Now, if you need to use the API to stage data, that's one thing, but you're not testing the API as part of an end-to-end test. The database, you're not testing the database part of an end-to-end test. All the little integration tests that you're doing, so if you're doing stuff with API, you can validate the database. That's a quick test because there are connectors that you can connect to the database to make sure like you can automate the database as well. But I would not include it as part of my end-to-end test. Now, so the web test, like it's mainly going to be the web test and maybe some stuff with the desktop Java client, whatever that might be. So if now you're being urged to create an end-to-end test like this is the time that you put your big boy or big girl QA hat on and say, no, this doesn't work like this. This is inefficient. This is ineffective. We cannot work this way. We will not work this way. And here's the thing. And one thing you guys have to remember, end-to-end tests should not be big. It should not be long because they are super flaky, especially if you're using like web stuff like Playwright, Selenium, Cypress. Maybe Cypress and Playwright might be a little bit less flaky than Selenium. But at the end of the day, web tests, they take too long to run, or UI tests take too long to run. They're flaky as hell. So that's why our reliance should be more on our unit tests, our API tests, our integration tests, things like that. And then the UI is just, a few scenarios making sure things work. But our company better not be reliant on the UI for our business logic. That goes at a lower level. In the test, do you guys know the testing pyramid? So, good guy, you need to advocate for the right type of end-to-end test, not long end-to-end tests where you're going through the whole world of different validations. No, test the API thoroughly in its own repository, own wherever. Test a database. You can test it maybe with the API. You can test it on its own, whatever the case may be. There are and what are the developers doing any type of unit tests? So again, let me bring that back up. Bring the comment back up. So you need to advocate. You need to fight for your QA rights because this is not feasible. As an end-to-end test, you gotta get them smaller. You have to make them specific to what the user is going to be doing. All right. Hopefully that helped. And let's wrap that one up. Shout out to Good Guy, always with the amazing questions. Always threatening me with a good time. Alrighty then. So let's get to our next question of the night. So, and are you having a good time? Are you having a good time? I am having a phenomenal time hanging out with you guys. It's already 9:07. Time is running. I have a meeting in like 30 minutes. So we're going to keep going. We are going to keep going and then we'll get to the chat. Let me get a drink though. Let me get a drink. So, all right, where's DJ Khaled when you need him?
Another one.
This question says, software tester at university, any educational institution. Is there anyone who has experience working as a software tester in an IT department at a university or other educational institution? If so, what was your experience from? What were your responsibilities, challenges? What software did you test, and whether you were involved in the SDLC, the software development lifecycle, at all? So, this is a good question. And let's go back to full screen, and we are going to start our timer. Let's get that off the screen. We're going to start our timer. So, I was not a software tester at an educational institution. I did have someone that I used to be friends with in times past, that they were a software tester at a college, a local college down here, and they tested the applications that the school would purchase. They didn't build their own application. So part of the like when I read this question, the thing that came to mind was it's hard to be a software tester if you're not testing the application that you're building. You can still kind of do it in a sense. You can call it a software tester, but you're more like a configuration tester at the end of the day, because if you don't have access to reporting the defects, reporting the bugs, and then being part of like the development team that's fixing it, it's not the like really software testing, but you can be like a configuration tester. So I'll give you an example. In my prior role, before at my current company, before at the company I was before at the company I am now, we would they called it COTS, custom off the shelf software, right? And so you would have to configure it, and there would be like serious configurations. There were customer success managers and our business analyst type people. And what I would do as the QA person, right? I would be automating testing the configuration of the software that we purchased to make sure that we're in compliance and have documentation and stuff like that. But I wasn't a software tester for software that was being developed, which was unfortunate because I did miss that a lot, and I'm so happy to be back in that realm. So when we bring that to the university level, it's going to be around the same thing, because guess what? Universities don't really build their own software unless they're I don't know, because even like the software, like the computer science majors, I don't think they build software for the universities. So it's hard to see many people who are software testers in an IT department, unless you're going to be testing like software that that is purchased and that's going to be configured. You might, and you see, and that's not even software at that point, because if you're like testing whatever the IT department is doing, I don't know. It's a hard one, because that is not really their role or their realm to dabble in. So it just depends on what you guys do in IT, But I would see you testing. I would see you testing configurations and setting up applications, maybe helping troubleshoot. It might be more of like a help desk role than a software tester.
You.
What in the world is going on here? And we got Corey Perry just subscribed. Corey, welcome to the channel. I appreciate you, Corey. I appreciate you. All right. I have whenever I get the bat symbol, I have to stop and acknowledge the people. All right. All right. So like I was saying, that is what I mean by it's hard to say, because for me, testing software means that you're also involved in building the software, but you could be testing software that the configuration of it, helping out, and that's a big part, a big role that I played was like figuring out some configuration stuff. I was very dynamic over there, because it was not true software testing, and so and I'll tell you this, I will never go back to a role outside of software testing because, or when I say software testing, I mean out of like the development team, like the software development lifecycle. But asking like if you're involved in the SDLC at all, the answer is pretty much no, because I wasn't building software. So there at a university or any education institution, it's going to be a hard sell unless, and it's in the IT department. The IT department is not going to be really building software. They're going to be acquiring software, configuring it, and stuff like that. So you're going to be in a tough spot. You're going to be in a tough spot. So, and honestly, I don't know if it's a private school or whatever, but I love the private sector. As a software tester, you want to go out there and actually build software, contribute. There's so much more to learn when you are at the cutting edge of technology, innovation, and stuff like that. All right. So that is my thought. I wish I could give you some more information on that, but it's kind of limited to what the school does, what the IT department does. It might be more of a help desk role that they mask as software testers. So we shall see. Alrighty then, let's continue the show. Where are we at? It is 9:15. We are running through it tonight. We are running it up. We are running it up. And shout out to everyone from wherever you may be watching. I really, really appreciate you. So, good guy came back and said, agreed. Just need more ammo to talk with a client about it. Thanks. For sure, good guy, for sure. Good guy.
Good guy.
All right. So, what else we got in the chat before we move on to our next question? We got Mitch says those energy drinks getting worse with people ending up in the hospital. I am not drinking energy drinks. I have not drank it since after the disasterful competition last month. All right. So no energy drinks for me, only coffee and the blood of my enemies. Mitch, I wanted to create my own energy drink called the blood of my enemies, but then you told me I couldn't drink energy drinks anymore. So much for that. Right. What a dream killer. What a dream killer. And Mitch says, is there a difference between a product tester and a software tester? I never really heard the term product tester, but I guess it could kind of be similar to what I was describing, but they're not really product testers because I would say a product tester then is more of a general title because software is a product, but you could have a product that is not software. So like let's say when you remember when you'd buy something and they would have the little note in there that says like inspected by number 347. Well, that would be a product tester, but that's not a software tester. But someone who tests software is testing a product, I guess, because product is software, but software does not necessarily have to be software is a product, but product does not have to be a software. So I don't know. But good question. That is a good question, Mitch. Shout out to you, Mitch. Alrighty then. Let's get to our next question of the night.
Another one.
Let's go back to full screen. What more can I do? Well, that's a loaded question. It says, we have an already established automation framework using Java and TestNG. I was thinking, how do I do more to make an impact there? Any tools or ideas? Please pour in your suggestions. So pretty much the question is, how do I add value to my team, to my organization? All right. That is the question that we're going to answer, because that's the question that you really wanted to ask, but you just ask, how can I do more? And the number one way, which I know some people will disagree in the comments later on down the line. But the number one way is to look to plug in. Am I saying to take on other people's jobs and responsibilities? No. But yeah, I mean, yeah, but no, right? But you should. But so what do I mean? How can I plug in? One thing that I'm always looking to do is my question that I always ask myself, what can I do so that we can be more successful as a team? I like sports. I like shooting threes from 35 feet. I do. I mean, what can I say? But I also want to be a team player. So when Fabio tells me to pass the ball, I'm gonna all right. Okay, I'll be fair. All right. If he asks me to pass the ball 5 times, I might shoot it from 35 feet 2 times, and I'll pass it to him 3 times. All right. That's just being fair. Mitch, is that being fair, Mitch? Let me know. Let me know, Mitch. Is that being fair? But I want to win. Like, all fun and games aside, I want to win. And I was reading an article this morning. I was actually reviewing the article for a video that's going to be coming out soon, maybe in a couple of weeks, about gamifying the DevSecOps. And I was like, well, I think this is more than just DevSecOps, right? It's for anything that you're doing. Gamify it. How can we make it fun? And that's what I do on this channel, right? How do I make it fun? How do we add value into the lives of the people? How do I add value into the lives of my team? How can I make things more efficient, show new cool ideas? How can I add to the framework? So, and this is why I love my team, right? Like the developers that I work with. I get so many cool ideas from my developers, and they even contribute to the automation and stuff like that because we want to win. All we care about is success. Success of the company, success of the customer, success of our team. And in going after that success, we get better individually on the way, and we build each other up. So one of my developers, they were working on some automation stuff, and because I was working on some other stuff, and then once I got done with the other stuff, I'm like, hey, I want you to continue working on like the actual development and whatever our goal is for this sprint. I can take over the automation from here. And cool, no problem. And then so I took over and I'm like, okay, cool. This is good. But there are some other scenarios that I can add to it. So I started adding. And I took the work that they did and I started adding to that. So they kind of like started it up for me. And now I'm like, okay, here are these scenarios, here are those scenarios, all this type of stuff. But in the video that we reviewed last Thursday about the comment on the video that I made about doing other people's job. Well, why if we have the mindset and the attitude, like I said, your attitude is your altitude. If I have the idea, the attitude of, well, that's not my responsibility, right? With the head shaking like that, right? That's not my responsibility. Then why would someone want to help me in what is my responsibility? See, when we cause contention and division, then the job isn't going to get done. As Kobe Bryant said, the job's not finished. I can be a glorified code writer and bug reporter and Orkin man and stuff like that. But what value do I get out of it? What value do I bring to it? Oh, I reported 10 bugs. Cool. Now we can't deploy. Now we can't deploy. So I ask again, what is our goal? What value are we trying to bring? And that's why I have absolutely no problem. See, you don't have to do it if you don't want to, right? If you want to just sit around and beg someone for an opportunity, hope someone shows you some favor. See, I don't rely on anybody's favor. I will dive into Terraform. I will dive into Docker. I will make suggestions. I will ask questions, and that is the impact that you can make. the things that need to be done, you do them. You look for ways to further expanding your automation. You have an established automation framework. There is no such thing as a perfect framework. Does it take screenshots? Does it do reports? Can you implement or can you sample out Report Portal, for instance, and have the results of your automated tests send it over to Report Portal? Can you upgrade the framework to use Report Portal? Is it taking screenshots? Can you look into having the option to run your tests in parallel on the device farm? So ways to make impact. In the article that I reviewed this morning, we always hear about shifting left. Well, the person who wrote the article, I forgot his exact name, but when we review it, you'll see. But he had, and I never even thought about, which I do it, but I never thought about it. Start left. Why do we have to shift left? Why can't we just start left? So that's how you act. That's how you add impact. It's not about the tools. It's not about the particular ideas. It's what does my team need and how can I fulfill that need? And if you don't want to do that, by all means, that is fair. But I guarantee you this, my tech barbarians, they are ruthless. They're hungry. You don't want Bridget coming after your spot. You don't want T coming after your spot. You don't want A coming after your spot. Because when I set them out there, it's over. It is over. All right, let's go to the chat real quick. We are gonna wrap it up soon. We are gonna wrap it up soon. So Mitch says, that's what I do. That's not. We know, Mitch. And that's why we don't celebrate you here, right? That's why we don't celebrate you here. I kid. I joke. All right, let's get over. Let me check this thing real quick. Let's see here. Let me see. Nice. Okay. Cool. We are going to continue with the show. And go back to this. So, got 2 questions left. Let's try to do it before 9:45 because I gotta get out of here. I have a very, very important meeting to get to. So, let's continue with the show. And if you haven't done so, do me a big favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live. If you are in need of one-on-one coaching or access to exclusive content, like the exclusive content that I shared with Corey for his job interview, the right ways to prepare for the interview, the ways to highlight yourself, and the right questions to ask, go over to www.techcoachralph.dev where you can sign up for a coaching plan and you can get access to exclusive content. All right. So let's get to our next question really, really quick.
Another one.
Says, hi, I just want to hear your thoughts regarding this QA engineering roadmap. I'm a software tester and planning to get into more QA automation engineering role in the future. I'm currently learning Playwright. I know good guy's happy about that as my main automation framework for end-to-end testing with JavaScript/TypeScript. Then I have come across this roadmap from roadmap.sh/QA. It feels overwhelming as there seems to be a lot of technology. Is it necessary to learn all of the technology, like, for example, the branch for CI/CD and automation framework, which has a lot? So I'm going to pull it up real quick. I don't normally share the screen during our Q&A, but I did want to see what the heck they were talking about here. So I'm going to pull it up and we're going to share our screen. Why don't we? And I know this timer is not going to work right, but let's look at the roadmap and then we'll start the timer, right? So let's go over and we will look at the roadmap. So it says, this roadmap says, oh, that's interesting. This roadmap says, let's see. QA engineer, learn the fundamentals, and then what is quality assurance, tester mindset, testing approaches, and then you go down white box. And then you also go to test oracles, test prioritization, manage your test. And then they have a bunch of tools, Qtest, TestRail, TestLink, Zephyr, never use TestLink. Zephyr's within here, and then you go from here, the fundamentals, you go to project management, Atlassian, Assemblia, UTrack, Trello, and then testing techniques. You go to non-functional, functional, let's see, manual testing, all this stuff, automated, non-functional, the email testing, automated testing, back end, front end. Okay, so I've seen enough. If you guys want to see this link, I'll drop it in the chat for you. I have seen enough. So if you want to see it, you can go there, take a look. But I'm going to go back to full screen and I'm going to start the timer. So, and I still have it on the screen, but I'll say this, right? This is very, very overwhelming. I know probably 90% of this stuff, right? And I find it very overwhelming. Like this, like, if you're going to give a roadmap, at least break it up. Because you look at this roadmap and how I don't even see a clear path to getting from start to end. I don't even know what the end is, right? So what I would say is don't even look at it. You can look at it once, but it's going to give you anxiety because like how in the world are you supposed to, and here's part of the problem. So there, like on the roadmap, there's four different test management softwares where you only really need to learn, or not even learn, have some familiarity with one of them because they all at the end of the day work the same. You can figure it out. So I don't even have all, and then like the project management systems, right? They have four. So you have to learn Atlassian, you have to learn Assemblia, you have to learn UTrack, you have to learn Trello. Why? That's too much. So I'll give you my strategy. Here's my roadmap. Okay, I don't share this information with everybody, so feel special. I just have you do the work. Because through the work, you will find out what's important. If you ask Tech Barbarian T, right? That's what we just call him, Tech Barbarian T. The amount of knowledge that's been accumulated throughout the past month is out of this world. Never heard of Docker, never even had Docker installed. But is Docker on this? Let me see, is there Docker on this? Is there a way to search this thing? See, I don't see Docker on here. Let me see. It might be. I don't see it. I don't see it. But if you know how much Docker facilitates testing, makes it easier. If you're like the ability to just do a command, Docker compose up, and your whole testing infrastructure is ready for you. The whole application is started. So I say, you know what? You're gonna get thrown in the fire, and then as you go along, you're gonna figure it out. Tech Barbarian T. The amount of research that she's done to figure things out, and I'm like, okay, slow down. Ask me for help because I don't want you like installing and uninstalling a bunch of stuff, and then you getting lost, right? But they are driven. And do you think I care at this point whether they know how to use Travis CI? I couldn't give two flying flies. Right? Like, I don't care if they know about Travis CI or Circle CI. I implemented a GitHub action the other day, and using GitHub, they went and they looked at the code, they approved it. Should they have approved it? Probably not, but it doesn't hurt anything. But they looked like they figured out how to use GitHub. They looked like when I implemented the GitHub action, they looked at the GitHub action. And they said, "Oh, I saw this fail. I saw this." And they gave me recommendations. Believe it or not. They said, "Oh, you're using Node 21, but I saw that it says recommended that you should use the Node 20, but you know better than me." I'm like, "Oh, that's a good insight. I didn't think about that. I mean, I don't know how much more Node I know than you, but that was good insight." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you guys can go through these boot camps and do all this fake work and stuff like that, and spending time." And I'm like, Are you getting what you need out of it? Because I'm like, you know what? Just go into the fire. And guess what? I'm not going to rescue you. I'm going to turn you into a firefighter. I will give you all the tools, the oxygen that you need. I will give you the fire suit that you need, the axe that you need, everything that you need to go into battle. But I will not come in there and rescue you. I will be I'll be walking in the fire with you, but I will not rescue you. And that's why that is my strategy of learning. Do I have all these roadmaps? I could probably look at the roadmap and help and like direct you, but I'm not going to say, here's your roadmap and you go follow this, because you will never finish it. And that's going to be frustrating. And then you're going to quit. And do I want you to quit? No, I don't want you to quit. I want you to win. I want you to succeed. I want to be able to play the celebration sounds for you. All right? So my roadmap is, here's the work that you have to do. Join the team. We have our Scrum night. We're going to have our sprint planning. We have our planning, and you're going to estimate the amount of effort it's going to take. And then we're going to work for 2 weeks. We're gonna do our daily Scrum meetings, or like through our through Slack. And then at the end of the sprint, we're gonna come back and we're gonna do a sprint review. We're going to do our retrospective, and then we're gonna plan our next sprint, and then we're gonna get started. And every 2 weeks, over and over and over. And now you're actually going to be, that is gonna be your roadmap. You're gonna be building that experience. You're going to be locking that in. All right. So this is totally overwhelming. I would not focus on this. I would say just go through the process and think. The retrospectives are so important because you get to look back on how things went and how can you make it better? How can you make it better? That is the idea. That is the ultimate victory. That is my roadmap to you. All right, let's see. What? No, that's what I do. All right, let's see what's going on here in the chat. We have Gregory. Greg says, "Have we really reached 1,000?" Wait a second. Are you kidding me here, Gregory? Let me see what's going on here in the mean streets of YouTube. It says, I don't see 1,000. I don't see 1,000. But we're almost there. If we're not there yet, we are almost there. And Mitch says, "That's some lemonade." Maybe you guys see it faster than I see it. But we're gonna party. We are going to party. All right. And it is 9:37 right now. Do I have time for one more question? I don't know if I have time for one more question. Let me see. I think I can sneak it in. One more question, and then we can get out of here. So let's do it, because I don't want to have them waiting for me. But you know, I live life on the wild side, right? I live life on the wild side. So if you haven't done so already, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna make them wait just for you. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's get to it.
Another one.
So this one says, let's go back to full screen. It says, I have an interview this week for a QA automation engineer. This position requires knowledge in agile testing. Mostly I've been working in waterfall projects. I am not concerned about technical questions regarding coding/tools, but they explicitly said that they need 3 years plus of experience in agile testing. What questions can I expect? I know more or less how agile testing is conducted, from user stories, acceptance criteria to CI. Could someone please explain why someone would require 3 years of experience in agile methodology? How is that important? What can I be asked about? Is that a smart idea to jump to a project with different methodology? Okay, that is a good question. And let's get to our answer. I'm going to start the clock. And I'm going to say this, right? Agile testing, so there's a course on Udemy called Testing in Agile, right? And I took that course when I was going into Agile. Always getting prepared. So the thing is with agile testing is it's learning how to test in smaller iterations. And I think that the reason that they would ask for 3+ years of that is waterfall and agile is totally different. In waterfall, you're going to be planning for the entire, like, you're going to be writing a bunch of test cases, waiting a long time for the developers to say, okay, now this is ready to test. So your strategy is going to be totally different. I've been testing in agile since 2016ish, with about a 2-year break in between when I was working at my previous company. But the thing with agile testing is you deploy, like at my current company, we deploy whenever the software is ready. Like whenever the code is ready, with the features ready, we're done, we deploy. At the company that I was working at Agile before, we would deploy like every two-ish weeks to different environments. It was like the old way of doing things. We were moving towards deploying like on a continuous delivery basis, right? And the idea of testing in smaller increments, testing per story, per feature, is a totally different concept to the waterfall methodology of testing everything at once. Very, very inefficient. Now, the reason that they would want 3+ years is because if you're going in as a QA automation engineer, I'll tell you this off rip. A QA automation engineer by default is already more advanced than a QA tester. So when they say 3 years of testing in Agile, it really means 3 years experience as a QA engineer, but in an Agile environment, because you need to be familiar with testing in iterations. You need to be familiar with setting up regression testing so that you can quickly run these tests and you're not, and you know, so the coding and stuff like that, but how do you use the code effectively? Do you have that mindset of shifting left, which comes from the Agile methodology? Agile, by its construct, is a shift left from waterfall, from the V model and stuff like that. So we're able to get a lot more done in a lesser amount of time, and we're able to get fast and continuous feedback. So being able to, so you understand the acceptance criteria to CI, but do you understand the acceptance criteria in a way that you're going to write effective test scenarios that is testing a specific feature and using your regression test to make sure that you're not breaking anything? Or not you, but that the development team is not breaking anything. And that's why they want somebody who is experienced in Agile, who understands the Agile methodology, the Agile functionality, so that you can properly advocate for QA. See, and that's the thing. This is where, like, Agile, like, I'm sorry to tell you, for all the people who are in love with manual testing and that they believe that they're going to be looking for jobs as manual testers, that does not exist. It's dynamic now, because you're also not going to get a job as a QA automation engineer. You're going to be doing both. Simple, plain and simple. You're going to be doing both. All right. So you need to be able to advocate for QA, advocate for quality, advocate for your customers, advocate the risks. And you need to do it quickly. You need to be able to participate in the Scrum ceremonies. So participate in the story refinements, adding valuable insight that QA brings. You're not just sitting around waiting for the requirements to be given to you. You are part of creating the requirements, creating the acceptance criteria. You are part of the team. See, QA always believes that they're not valued, but the reason you're not valued is because you don't participate. You just sit around waiting for them to give to you instead of contributing. And whenever you contribute, people will see your value. Whenever you're providing that insight. So that's why I say that, and that's why it is important that you have that, like they're asking for, and to, honestly, like 3 years in Agile, it's kind of minimum. So going as a QA automation engineer, that's just what it says as part of the title. But you're going to be doing a lot of stuff, right? A lot of stuff. So with that being said, we are going to wrap that question up. And I'm going to send a text real quick to let them know that I will be there in just a minute. So just bear with me for a second. Alrighty, so let's go back to full screen. We're going to wrap this show up for tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me check the comments before we wrap it up for tonight. And Greg says, I am looking forward to becoming a tech barbarian. And I am looking forward to having you here as well, because we run it up and, we do what we do. All right. And Mitch already knows what time it is. So before we wrap it up, I have a question for you guys. I have a question for you. The question is, as always,
are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
I am certainly entertained, as always, because I have so much fun with you guys, answering your questions, hanging out, all that good stuff. So it is what it is. We're going to be back again tomorrow morning. We are going to be back tomorrow morning. And then we're going to be back Thursday night. More work to do. All right. So you guys know, Mitch already gave you the heads up. Because you know that yesterday's price is not today's price, and today's price is not tomorrow's price. All right. Because
one more thing. Price of the brick going up.
The price of the brick is going up. And my friends, my family, you guys are the best. I will check you guys out later. This is Tech Coach Ralph with another episode of Tech Q&A. We are out.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.